Okay, guys, here's a piece of property with a storage unit on it. It's a concrete block storage unit with a roof and a double door entry. There are no utilities, but you would own the land and be able to use this as storage. Could you live in there and park an RV on the property? Technically, by the letter of the law, no. It would be against zoning restrictions in this area. This is Sebastian, Florida, which is central east coast of Florida, almost southern Florida, but not quite. And this piece of property here is interesting because some people are look for storage units. Storage units are $1 billion industry in America. Even poor people have storage units, and some people look for an area where they can park an RV. Now, you could probably park your RV here and store it without any major issue, but you could not live there with your neighbors seeing you come in and out, etc., consistently. So, because you are surrounded by a residential area. This is a residential community. And as you'll see here, we'll just go a little bit around, then we'll come back to this. So, it's one of these interesting properties, okay, where it has some appeal to people looking for an alternative way to live, but you are still amongst, again, middle-class residential community. So, you're trying to beat the system by, live in a storage unit or park your RV on a piece of property you own. But in an area that is zoned residential, you're not going to be able to do it. And even if you're able to do it for a period of time, you're skating on thin ice, because at any time, the municipality can come and fine you each day that you don't comply with the laws of the land. And that's not zoned to live out of without building a livable home. So, and eventually they could take that property away from you if you don't comply long enough. Now, you see this area here, these are dirt roads right off that main street. And a lot of these homes are secluded, and this is not a populated area per se. And so, you have a feel, excuse the noise, because you're going to hear, we're on a little bit of a rough road. So you have the feel of almost you can get away with more than the average community. And probably you could, but it's only a matter of time before you can't. And that's the problem, it's like, I want to get off this road and turn back around. That's the problem. See here, this neighbor on this dirt road, they have a small little house. That house is probably, 600 square feet, but it's a house, okay? And they're fenced in, and certainly there, you could put an RV, and they have a boat in the back, and you can use this as storage. So if you bought this piece of property, you could live pretty much however you want, right? Because there's that home, there's that structure on there. But if you bought the piece of property that we'll go back to that I showed you with that storage unit, you couldn't live in it. It doesn't have plumbing, it doesn't have electric, it doesn't have the code requirements to be considered a livable dwelling. And when you don't have things up to code, that means the municipality has the legal right to fine you, because technically you're breaking the law if you're trying to live there, and possibly seize your property if you don't comply. And so, it's like that's what you have to be conscious of when you try to get to this alternate lifestyle of living, where you're not going to live in a conforming house or an apartment. You're going to live as a nomad, or you're going to live in this tiny home. You have to understand that you're not going to be able to do it within a normal community. You're going to have to do it in a community that's out in the middle of nowhere, or you have a small little house and then you make it unique with a thing next to it, a RV next to it, or a tiny home next to it. But you see, this is the property here with the storage unit, and it's a nice little piece of property. It's right off a paved road, and there are stores and hospitals within a 15-minute radius. But you just couldn't live here. And it's only $57,000. The property taxes are only a couple $100 a year. And obviously there's no utility bills because you don't have utilities. There's no HOA, obviously. But there's no legal right to live in this space. And that is, this issue that I found living this, see your neighbor next to you, has this little fence, and they probably wouldn't, they don't look directly into your house, but you see like the side of their house faces yours. So they look out the window and they see someone living in that storage unit or parking their RV and living out of it. They're going to complain. And the guy, up ahead here with these couple trucks, he was kind of looking at me like just, like taking pictures or like making this video. So you have eyes on you. And so, you see this online and you say, well, this may fit me living cheap and still being somewhat close because you're like 15 minutes away from the Atlantic Ocean. Again, there's stores right up the street. And this is like a tiny home. It technically almost is, but it doesn't have the utilities. It doesn't have the zoning. And it doesn't have the legal right to be lived out of. So could you park your car and sleep out of it? You may be able to come late at night, park your car or van, sleep out of it, and leave early in the morning. But you might as well go to Walmart if you're going to do that. You couldn't live out of here and stay in your car all day. Your neighbors would complain. Like this guy here, nice guy, but he was looking and he's just right to look. If I had a house and I lived across the street and someone bought that and was living out of their car or that storage unit, I would complain to the county because that's not the place for that activity. And so I respect, environments. I respect neighbors. I respect the law. I mean, within reason, right? So I'm sharing this video to talk things out with you because many times people are irrational and they can't be fair in their evaluation. Again, if you own property on that street, you certainly would not want someone living out of that storage unit. You wouldn't want them living out of an RV. It's their property, but that's not the place for it. Now, the debate may be, should they make more places for things like that? Well, yeah, that's debatable, so it's like, but, it's not going to be in an existing environment. It's going to be like in a new community where they tear down trees and they want to make that type of community. But any place within close proximity to amenities, you don't build a community by making it where you can live any way they want, because then, there's no city, there's no infrastructure, there's no building. There's just people living like this rural, remote life in a modern area. It doesn't work. You can't have your cake and eat it too, per se. So the biggest answer to a cheaper, affordable way to live is just try to find a house that's under or around 1,000 square feet. There still are homes like that. And, and you're going to have to just be diligent. But, there's a price to pay for everything. And you're not going to find this magical property that doesn't have any issues or that you're able to live completely free from all restrictions. It's just not possible. But you see, like right up the street is Route 1, and you have a McDonald's, you have a Walmart up the street, you have normal stores, you have a hospital. Again, this is Sebastian, Florida, which is right in between Melbourne, Florida, and Vero Beach, Florida. Once you get to Vero Beach, you're kind of considered in South Florida. Some people say South Florida doesn't start till Palm Beach County, but I would say, technically, once you get to Vero Beach, you've started to enter South Florida. So either way, I just want to share this video with you again to talk things out, to share some visual things and legal things, that you'll have to consider if you're trying to live this non-conforming life. And many people are thinking of it, but many people are not thinking it through. And that's the difference. You can't just think about it. You have to think it through, calculate the cost, be fair in your evaluation, and consider all things. Because, like the scriptures say, you don't want to start building something and not calculate the cost, not understand the pros and the cons of the situation. Because if you do that, you'll end up looking foolish, and, you're going to make your life harder than it needs to be. In life, you don't want to make your life harder than it needs to be. You want to make your life better, less suffering, simpler. And, you're not going to live a simple life on a piece of property with a storage unit if you can't legally live there, but you're trying to live there. You're going to make your life harder. So that is the core of what I wanted to share in this video. Hopefully it helped you. If my videos do help you, click the blue join button to get unlimited access to all my live feeds. I go live every day. And I will see you in the next video. And I thank you for watching. Peace.